Can you take a moment to introduce yourself?
My name is Camelle Scott, and I run a statewide racial justice organization. And I am a single mom with two beautiful young daughters, 11 and 6. And both, they're two young women, or two young girls, like two young women, two young girls with big personalities. Just incredibly brilliant and creative and fearless and just the right amount of scary um, for a young girl.
How do you know when a program is good?
Yeah, so my girls are pretty far apart. I definitely have a story like that for each of them, which happened, years apart. My oldest daughter was in a program that was being run by somebody who was trained actually through the support of what's that organization called? The program was run by somebody who was trained with the support of all our kin, which is how I've actually gone about getting most of the connections. I've gone the family the family care route when my kids are young. And that's actually worked out for the most part really well for us. They're very small settings, so a lot of more individualized attention. But it really did depend on who we got. There was at least one placement that we had where, and I wouldn't say we were placed with them. So there was at least like one daycare that my oldest daughter was in where we had an incident that was bad enough that we immediately pulled her out of that program. And I think it was connected to the person who ran the daycare had had a health issue and had had some kind of surgery or something that really required them to take off more time than they did. And I think because of their economic situation, they tried to get around that and ended up not being present to take care of the kids. And I don't know exactly what happened because my child was too young to tell me. What I do know is that she came home and had bruises all over her. And when I called to ask about what had happened, the response I got was like a straight deny, like a very quick to denial, as opposed to like any kind of concern for the well being of the child or surprise about what had happened. So that gave me the indication that it likely happened there in the daycare. And so we pulled her out of that program, and we did like file a report so that the program could be looked at, which it was. It wasn't closed, but we moved her to another program that actually turned out to be much, much better for her. Um, and I think the programs can be really different depending on who's running them. But for us, it was really about the attentiveness of the person running it, the communication between us and them about any challenges that arise or um, any needs that are emerging that our child may have that we want to pay attention to.
What makes a program feel seamless to your life? What does like ease of access to a program look like for you?
With my youngest, because she was so young and because it was such a, like, I'll be honest and say traumatic experience to put her in daycare so young. Um, One thing that made it felt more seamless was that like this childcare provider was so compassionate about that, and she was constantly sending me pictures, like pictures, videos, constantly updating me throughout the day about how my child was doing. I did not ask for that. I did not expect it, but I got it, and it meant so much, especially in those first. It's like my kids are screaming now. um, that meant so much in those first few months, especially, and definitely the food piece as well, because they did serve healthy meals throughout the day. When she was really young, I was still like providing breast milk, and so it was also like I could, provide that to them and make sure that my child was staying on breast milk for as long as I wanted to. She was so supportive of like my decisions around when to start to move her on to formula, and solid foods and things like that. And I really wanted to do 6 months of breastfeeding, even though I was going back to work after 3. And because of this person being so understanding and so supportive, I was able to meet that goal. And it was hard on the work end. It's definitely hard, like producing the milk and getting it to where it needs to go. And then you have that moment where, you leave the milk out and you want to die. That definitely happened to me once. But for the most part, like, it was really easy to just like have it, store it, bring it to them, know that like she was handling it the way it needed to be handled and getting it to my child. And then beyond that, once she grew out of being breastfed and moved to like solid food, I knew what they were serving. I knew it was healthy. And I knew that my kids were eating every day.